Howdy guys, I've been in a bit of a rut lately. No one seems to be taking me seriously anymore. I've gone soft. So in order to save my reputation, I need to recreate my image for a new era. And I think I know just the thing. Alright, I think I have the perfect solution. Say hello to my new, hip, edgy persona. I call him Kyle the Assassin. Now it's time to prove my worth. How will my redesign stack up against the rest? I don't know, I just gotta pray to whatever god is on my side today and just hope for the best. Yikes-a-palooza! I've been doing it all wrong. Important newsletter of the week says that being mature and edgy hasn't been in style since 2005. Wow, way to be late to the party, important newsletter of the week. I guess I'll have to take a different approach. That carpet looks stupid.
Man, what was going on with Sonic in the mid-2000s? After giving him somewhat of a modern redesign with the release of Sonic Adventure in 1998, they would continue to experiment with various gameplay styles. But as the 2010s were approaching, Sega really needed to reinvent Sonic again for a modern audience. This new Sonic game would be much like Sonic Unleashed, but more refined. It would also overhaul Sonic's personality, making him a lot more, comedically self-aware. Of course, I didn't care about any of this, seeing as I was a 5-year-old child whose most important priorities were...
this?
It was one of the first Sonic games I ever played. I didn't know anything about your average Sega Genesis or Dreamcast or the guns.
Yeah, what was up with that?
This leads me to ask the age-old question. Is it as good as I remember it being? I don't know, dude. My memory loss isn't that bad yet, but I guess that's a better reason than any to talk about it. And talk about a double whammy. It even got the remaster treatment last month and, well, I'll wait till the dust settles on that one. Sonic Colors, or Sonic Colors, started development in 2008 after Sonic Team wrapped up development on Sonic Unleashed. That had gotten a lot of criticism, specifically the night stages, which were pretty long and monotonous. They wanted to reuse the core mechanics from Sonic Unleashed, but cut the fat and refine the rest. Eventually, they would release the game on November 11th, 2010 in PAL regions, then November 16th in North America, and finally November 18th in Japan. When you start up the game, you're thrust into the beautiful opening cutscene, which gives us a good listen to this soundtrack. After starting a new save game, you're immediately presented with the first level. Now this is nice. Most of the levels revolve around just going as fast as possible, with some platforming and enemies scattered throughout. Like Sonic Unleashed before it, most levels either have 3D or 2D platforming sections. The 2D sections feel like a mix of the older Genesis titles mixed in with newer elements of the 3D Sonic games, like the homing attack and grind rails. For the most part, they control pretty well. I mostly have problems with jumping, but that's mostly because I consistently fail to grasp the concept of double jumping.
This happens every time I try. Please help.
The 3D sections are also fine, but I'm not the biggest fan. They're mostly focused on speed, so you don't really have to do much. However, when you do have to do much, it becomes apparent how somewhat slippery the controls are, especially the drifting. I'm assuming it's just because I'm bad at it, but if it's not that, then please tell me.
It can't just be me.
The boost is also back from Unleashed, but this time you fill your boost meter by collecting these alien capsules. Oh yeah, I haven't mentioned them yet. After playing through some of the levels, you're finally given some kind of exposition. Eggman's opened up an intergalactic amusement park, supposedly out of goodwill, which immediately leads me to believe we're f***ed. Of course, it's just another ploy, and he's really using these plants to capture aliens and siphon their energy for use in a mind control device. Sonic comes across one of these aliens, which leads us into one of the game's main mechanics, the Wisps. Wisps are those alien creatures I just mentioned, and give Sonic a whole bunch of new abilities. Some of them include being able to shoot lasers, use spikes to stick to walls and ceilings, hovering, and dog. I think they're a really good inclusion, at least better than the more gimmicky stuff we got in the past. Eggman gets these aliens from their home planets, which he's turned into attractions. There are some pretty cool level ideas here, like a candy planet, an industrial forest, and even a parade float in space. That definitely meets the qualifications for third best space-related Wii game.
Which means it's 2 spots away from becoming blasphemous.
Right now we're in the Tropical Resort, a shopping district and amusement park. The theming is a nice mix of tropical themes and metallic-y Eggman stuff. It's quite nice. Now we come across our first boss, a sentient Ferris wheel. It's pretty easy, it only took me about 30 seconds to beat it, but the nightmare sustained will last forever. Finally, some more plot development. I forgot to mention it, but these cutscenes give us a good look at Sonic's new personality. He's got a barrage of new quips to throw at us. They're not that bad, other than the fact that he's painfully unfunny, but I suppose that adds charm to it. So we take down the boss, and boy, I hope that rogue robot part doesn't end up affecting anything. We discover these tractor beams that hold the plants together. Our mission now is to shut down every single generator generator powering these tractor beams while saving some wisps along the way. We now move on to Sweet Mountain, a candy land. Honestly, I think the candy theme's a bit overplayed, but there's still some creative design choices that I like. It's here where we're introduced to the infamous drifting sections, the drill and rocket wisps, and some monotonous platforming sections. The big brass band music is really nice, and I think it fits well. The boss of this area is a candy pirate? I don't fucking know, just drill it to death and get it over with. Another generator and chromosome destroyed.
Hey, where are you going?
To find Baldy McNosehair, of course.
Okay, hear me out. Space traffic jams.
Starlight Carnival is essentially a more galactic take on the average parade. I like all the neon lights and Rainbow Road aesthetic things they got going on here. Some of the platforming sections can be a pain in the ass, but when you're just flying through the air and speeding through small hallways, it's a fun time. This is also the home of the Cuban hover wisps, which either turn blue rings into cubes or let you hover through the air to reach high places. Once again, the music is really good and fits the area nicely. We come across Eggman, and finally that mind control thing goes somewhere. We almost get to fight Tails, which would have been pretty cool, but Eggman runs out of energy, and we're instead given the opportunity to fight this giant robotic whale. It's probably my favorite boss battle so far because I just find it really satisfying to beat the crap out of the ship. Oh yeah, I've kind of forgotten to mention that there's this whole side plot going on the whole time. Basically, one of Eggman's lovable robot minions lost their voice box, and I've lost interest. Before we move on, I'd like to briefly mention the smaller game modes the game has to offer. There's the Egg Shuttle that contains the challenge mode, and yeah, it's a challenge mode alright. But then there's the more interesting mode, Eggman's Sonic Simulator. It's multiplayer and mostly consists of smaller elements from the main levels with this intentional video game aesthetic and really cool 8-bit remixes of the music. And with it being a Wii game and all, of course you can also play as your Mii. I think it's a nice little distraction from the main game that's a fun time.
So we're about halfway through the game here. I've had a generally good time so far, and I have no idea whether or not that will change at all.
Now this next one's pretty interesting, Planet Wisp. It's a planet full of wildlife and nature, but is slowly turning into an industrial construction zone thanks to Eggman. I'm not saying it's any kind of original concept, but I really like the way it looks. Again, some more tedious platforming with these bullshit platforms, but at least there's some merit to it with it being challenging with the nice atmosphere. You'll also find these spike wisps, which let you turn into a spike ball so you can stick to the walls and ceilings. Just don't dash, you'll be one B button press away from absolute uncontrollable rage. The boss of this area is another sentient Ferris wheel. Yeah, at this point the bosses start repeating. I'll admit they're a bit tougher, but tougher in the way that the boss used to take 30 seconds to beat, but now it takes like a minute to beat. I kind of wish they would make more original bosses that fit a little bit more into the area they're in. Like, I would kill to see something like a huge crane you have to fight, but thanks Sega, I guess my ideas are stupid. Aquarium Park is the game's water area, and oh no! I already know how everyone feels about water levels in Sonic games, so I'll spare you the details. Frankly, it definitely controls a bit better here, like how you can infinitely jump in water this time, which is a very welcome improvement. I still hate it, but not as much. I also really like the Asian pagoda theme they got going on here. It's really fitting. Couple that with some amazing music, and this is probably my favorite area in the whole game. There's no new wisps in this area, but there's this asshole. The boss is a repurposed candy pirate, a robot sailor. I don't know, just drill him again.
Hey, did somebody here order a clobbering? Are you sure? It says somebody ordered an extra large clobbering topped with everything. I can't take this thing back, so I'll give you an extra large clobbering for nothing.
Shut up!
We're now on to the final area, Asteroid Coaster. Now this is really cool. This is where Eggman drains the aliens of their energy. It's got roller coasters, metallic planets, grungy robot minions, and this guy. When the wisps are drained, they become Nega Wisps. Whenever Sonic absorbs these wisps, he becomes like a demon or something. Either way, you can literally devour everything in your path, becoming bigger to destroy even more. Hell yeah! My only complaint is that it can be quite slippery to control sometimes. Now, something I forgot to mention was that every so often you'll come across these levels that are really short. I thought I mentioned this now since there's this really short level in Asteroid Coaster. Eventually Sonic comes across the alien factory, and I guess that one wisp I forgot to mention earlier is dead, but hold the brakes, bucko! We have a spiky robotic whale to fight! The Rainbow Road doesn't make much sense being here, seeing as we're in Asteroid Coaster, but hey, I like this boss, so shut up. Did I say this is the last area? Oops.
Oh no, I'm an unreliable source.
After you beat the Asteroid Coaster boss, the final area is unlocked. Terminal velocity. Yeah, as it turns out, that rogue robot arm I mentioned earlier did affect something. Eggman fires his mind control beam, causing it to explode and start destroying the entire park. So yeah, I think it's safe to say we should probably start hightailing it the f*** out of here. Just the name Terminal Velocity sets the tone pretty quickly. You have to go down the space elevator you rode up in the first place, but in perfect Sonic fashion, you're running down the side of the rail instead. It's so cool. The music instills that perfect feeling of both panic and excitement. That asshole is back, and oh boy, boy, another boss! Luckily, it's completely original this time. You're fighting Eggman himself, who's absorbed all the alien energy into a machine he uses to mimic the Wisp powers against you. It's not too difficult overall, but it can get tense sometimes. Eventually, you use the power of colors or friendship or something to defeat Eggman once and for all. This area's layout is kinda weird. There's Act 1, the boss, then Act 2. Act 2 is essentially a lead into the next cutscene where Sonic is knocked out by the explosion, but the Wisps carry him. Oops, sorry, let me fix that. There. So the Wisps carry him to safety on his home planet and revive him. And so the aliens and their planets are saved, and now Sonic has to traverse through this empty field to find his house.
Good luck.
Now you may have just beat the final boss, but there's still one more obstacle we have to overcome. The credits. Not only are they unskippable, but they go on for over 12 minutes! Basically anyone who even sneezed near the development of the game got a credit. At the very least it's interactive, but after a while it's kinda boring just jumping into these random people's names. It's kinda like going through each layer of hell, but every layer is a different development branch at Sega. Sorry, one last thing. You can change the options. And that was Sonic Colors. Was it as good as I remember? Not quite, but it definitely is still a great Sonic game. I enjoyed most of the level design, music, and surprisingly some of the characters. And with the remaster out, even with its issues, it's still the same basic experience, so I'd recommend it.
Well, I guess the whole meta thing's a bust considering that whole trend died out like 10 years ago, but I do have a backup plan. Commissions anyone?